When disaster strikes, chaos follows. Emergency response teams react as quickly as possible, but they need up-to-date information. Communication lines are often cut, and information from the worst affected areas is often not forthcoming. The Sichuan Earthquake, just prior to the Beijing Olympics in 2008, is an example of where spatial information was used to help. Researchers at the School of Surveying and Spatial Information Systems were able to access images from the Japanese ALOS satellites. They were able to process these images using in-house sophisticated software and their own algorithms to produce products that were then used and published onto the school's website. The Chinese emergency managers were then able to access that data and actually use it during the emergency response operations. They were able to see things like roads which had been cut, cities and towns which had been worst affected. Associate Professor Linlin Ge heads up the Geodesy and Earth Observation Systems research group at the school. So Linlin, how long did it take to process the images?
We worked very closely with the Japanese collaborators in order to minimize the time between satellite image taking and the results by the Chinese authorities. When we started, we took more than 3 hours to analyze the images in our lab. We optimized our system on the fly and extreme pressure. By the end of it, it took us less than half an hour. This is the first time information such as this has been applied in emergency management.
Closer to home, the 2009 devastating bushfires in Victoria redefined our thinking about the intensity and speed of bushfires. Spatial information technology was also used in the emergency response. Linlin, can you tell me what your team did in response to the 2009 bushfires in Victoria?
I knew the Chinese launched 2 satellites in 2008 dedicated to disaster mitigation. I talked to the Chinese ambassador to Australia. Several Chinese ministries responded quickly. One image was taken on the second day of the bushfire. We monitored the event for more than a month, and the information was used by the Country Fire Authority in the emergency management.
In February 2010, Queensland experienced its worst flooding in 120 years. Floodwaters have been moving through northern New South Wales. Linlin Ge and his team have been working around the clock on what's called Spatial Intelligence using Earth observation satellites. Emergency services have been using these images to monitor the flooding and to coordinate follow-up aerial surveys.